Hey guys, it's Caleb from JC Sports, and I'm going to be talking with Brian Ching. Brian Ching is a retired soccer player that played for the Houston Dynamo and won two MLS Cups. He also played on the U.S. national team. Hi, Brian.
What's up, Caleb? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Just working away here and, looking forward to this interview to get away from the craziness of life.
Would you like to say a couple things about yourself to the people who don't know who you are?
Yeah, I think you gave me a pretty good intro. I played professional soccer for 13 years. Went to Gonzaga University, grew up out of Hawaii, wanted to be a professional surfer, didn't turn out. And when I was your age, I pretty much played all the sports. I surfed, I played soccer, I tried to play baseball, played basketball, surfed, dived, fished, did a little bit of everything. I didn't know I wanted to be a professional soccer player when I was your age because growing up in Hawaii, we didn't have access to soccer on TV, especially when I grew up. Only, the World Cup games, and that's the only time I really watched soccer on TV outside of the occasional U.S. men's national team game. So I didn't really even know about, the professional leagues around the world, and MLS hadn't started up until I was right when I graduated from high school and went to college. So, my path to becoming a professional soccer player wasn't your typical one.
So, what made you want to play soccer, and when did you start playing?
I started when I was about 7 years old. My mom wanted me to play organized sports, so she said, "Hey, how about soccer?" I was like, "What is that?" And I was a bit of a shy kid at the time, so I I was like, "Well, if you coach, I'll play." And I was obviously pretty athletic, so I was one of the better kids from the start out there, and I just kind of really enjoyed it and played it, and just continued on playing it. Once after that first year, and my mom was our coach, and then just kind of continued playing it because I was good at it. And so I started bringing the soccer ball and trained with myself. Try to bring a friend down there. So pretty much every day from ninth grade to 12th grade, I was down on the soccer field before school with the soccer ball, working on the things I needed to work on, and I created good habits in that way. It became easier and easier for me to make that choice of going to train and do soccer instead of hang out with my friends and not really get anywhere, do anything that's going to get me ahead in life. And so I was fortunate enough to get one college scholarship after that. And, then that's how I kind of started everything. And then I kept those good habits that I created and making those choices when I set my mind to getting a college scholarship, and it kind of carried over to me in college, and I continued to practice on my own, go in and talk to the coach, figure out what I needed to do, watch video clips of myself, and really came a long way when I really made that determination because I put good habits in place. And that's kind of how I became a professional.
So, what was your favorite position to play?
My favorite position, obviously, is scoring goals. That was what I look forward to, is just that, excitement, the 30 seconds, the thrill you get after you score a goal. There's no other feeling like that, and it's something that I still miss to this day. Especially being in the stadiums and you hear the crowd cheer. That was my favorite moments, and that's why I wanted to become a striker. I wasn't always a striker. Normally when you're younger and you're one of the better kids, it kind of puts you in the middle of the field, so you touch the ball a lot more often. And so I started off as kind of a center midfielder. And then in high school, my coach wanted me to play defense, so we stopped getting scored on, but then we weren't scoring goals. So then he put me up front, put me up forward. And then on my club team, I played forward. And it was kind of, ever since then, I always kind of stuck to playing forward.
So how does it feel to win an MLS Cup?
Miserable. No, I was kidding. No, it's what you play for, right? It's what you train for. It's what you dream of. And to be able to play in those games is really, really special, because not too many people ever achieve that level or get to play in those games. So they're very special moments, and to be able to score a goal and um, be a part of your team winning made it even more special. So 2006, that was probably my best year in soccer all around, and kind of ending that year on the ultimate high of winning an MLS Cup championship. It's something that I'll never ever forget, and always look back upon, and I always put a smile on my face.
What about how it feels to play for the U.S. national team?
Yeah, one of the biggest privileges that you can have as a soccer player is to represent your country. And even bigger so would be to represent them in the World Cup. You're one of 23 players in a country of 200, 300 million people. To be one of the top 23 people in what you do in that country says a lot, right? And it also really is special and meaningful, and there's a lot of responsibility also that goes with that. It's going out there and giving your best and representing an entire country of people. And so, being able to go to the World Cup in 2006 in Germany was one of the highlights of my career. And it was something that, even though I didn't get to play in the game, just being there and training and being a part of that sporting event, because it is the biggest sporting event in the world, is pretty special. And it was one of the highlights of my career. Like I said, even though I didn't play, but it was kind of standing on the field before the U.S. played Italy and hearing the national anthem sung. And for some reason, I just kind of thought back at that moment about, wow, I grew up on a small island in the middle of the Pacific, and now I'm standing, on the biggest sporting stage in the world representing my country, one of 23 guys. It was a special moment for me, and something kind of clicked in me and said, wow, you've come a long way, and you worked really, really hard to get here. And there was something about just that moment that, for me, I even consider that, even though I didn't get to play in the game, one of the highlights of my soccer career.
Who's your favorite soccer player?
I like a lot of soccer players. Back when I first started watching professional soccer, it was Roy Keane, Paul Scholes for Manchester United. These guys were just kind of hard-nosed players, way before your time, but guys that just kind of went out there and expected to win every game and put everything on the field every single time, and were difficult to play against. And so back then, those were my two favorite players. Nowadays, I love watching Messi. Obviously, I think everybody does. Just the way he breaks down defenses. He always beats his one man. Sometimes two or three to kind of open up the other team, if not just score for himself. But just his control on the ball, and it's not like he's doing a ton of step overs, things like that, but just his ability to kind of put the ball where it needs to be and know the space around him and use his pace to kind of break down defenses. It's fun to watch. I mean, there's a lot of other guys out there that I really enjoy watching, but that's the one I think of first when it comes to mind.
Did you play with Brad Davis? And if you did, were you good friends with him?
Of course, I was good friends with him. Brad, in the beginning of his career, was a completely different player from the time he ended his career. And to be able to see kind of his transformation and growth, not only as a player but as a human being, was pretty cool. to witness and see that type of growth in a person. I think when he first came on the scene, he is amazing talent. I mean, he is one of the best left-footed players I've ever seen. Not the fastest guy. I mean, if that guy had a lot of pace, I think he would have been one of the best players ever to come out of the United States. But he made the most of what he had, and he had one of the most special left feet that I've ever seen. I'd put him on par with David Beckham as far as being able to put the ball where he wanted it to consistently. I got a number of goals because of him. Just his corner kick service, always putting the ball where he wanted it to be, his free kick service, and then his ability to keep the ball and possess the ball was pretty special. And, for a guy that wasn't really quick, he had an extraordinary long career because he was so special technically on the ball. And, he's a great human being off the field. So I still consider him a good friend today, and we chat every once in a while.
If anyone who's watching that's interested in becoming a pro soccer player, can you tell them some information about being a soccer player and where to start?
Well, it starts, first of all, with loving to play and train with the ball, practice. I think there's no shortcuts. There's a lot of people that are gifted, but not all those people always become pros because they don't have what it takes to become professional. There's a lot of different things that factor into it. And I think, almost on a bigger scale, it's about your mentality, 50% about your mentality, about 50% about your athletic ability. And, it is, everybody wants to become a professional. And if you look at it like this as a pyramid, right, the higher and higher up, better and better you go, there's less and less people that, are at that level, right? And a lot of the reasons why, are because people aren't willing to work that hard or make the sacrifices that need to be made, almost in every profession. And this is something I tell everyone is, if you want to be successful at something, you have to be able to work harder than 99% of the people out there, because it's not easy. And that's why you see only the top 1%, achieve the upper echelons of what they do, and soccer is no different. I mean, you look at the professional level, there's, say almost 30 teams now. Each team has about, 30 players on it. So that's only 900 out of a country that has, 300 million people. And when you look at it that way, it's, one, you have to have skill, but you develop that skill by being out there training every single day, and doing the things you need to do. And it's hard, and that's hard to do. And not that many people are willing to do it, and they give up pretty easy on it. And one of the things that you can do as a young player aspiring to be a pro is create good habits, create a mentality in your own head where you're making the right decision over and over and over. And that starts by training yourself to do the right things. And so, by consistently going out and training on your own, or watching better players and learning, constantly, that desire to get better comes from within and comes from training your own mind, especially at a young age. Like I said, when I set my mind to wanting to get a college scholarship, I went out and I trained literally almost every single day before school. And that's hard to do. A lot of people would rather hang out with their friends, play cards, or do their homework. But if you consistently do that over and over and over, you create these good habits and these good patterns within your mind, and not only the physical side of things, going out there and doing, but there's a mental side to it too, right? And you have to tell yourself and train yourself to think a certain way, right? A lot of people, one of the biggest things is failure. People are afraid to fail, or people, when they do fail, they see themselves as failures, right? but that's not the way to look at it. When you fail at something, it's just you were unsuccessful at that try. So try again in a different way and you might succeed, right? Or you learn from it and you try something else, right? And so I've seen along my path, people fail at things or unsuccessful, and then they called themselves failures. And if you do that, you're creating the wrong mindset, and you'll be self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you actually, just say, okay, I was unsuccessful, I didn't, what I tried this time didn't work, and then try something else, then you're more likely to succeed and get ahead and solve the problem or be successful in the future.
So let's play this game called Impossible Decisions. You can
Okay.
one option, okay? I'm gonna ask you 6 questions, and remember, you can only choose one option.
Okay.
Would you rather live in a world without a sun or without soccer?
My answer would have been different back in the day, but now it would be without soccer.
So the second question, would you rather have soccer without rules or soccer games where you can only score 1 goal?
Soccer games where you could only score 1 goal.
Okay. Would you rather be a player like Messi or Ronaldo and never win a World Cup, or be an average player and win a World Cup?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I would rather be an average player and win a World Cup.
Would you rather live in a world without ice cream or a world without cookies?
Without ice cream.
Would you rather live in a world where you can only play American football or baseball?
American football.
Okay.
So I'd like to without baseball, put it that way, sorry.
Would you rather be invisible or read minds?
Read minds.
This is that was the last question, and thank you for answering all my questions and doing this interview and taking your time off your day for doing this.
No problem, Caleb. Good to see you.
And and those who are tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.